Goku, Gohan, Trunks all arrive in the time chamber. The two boys are taken aback by the emptiness of the room. Goku looks towards his kids, telling them that for the next 8 months this is where they will be training. Both kids get ready, wanting to avenge all of those who died at the hands of the androids, allowing Goku to see a flash of gold emit off them. On the outside, Bulma finds herself being escorted by Krillin in a plane to Kame House, where she is caught up on everything, learning that Krillin and the others are currently collecting the Dragon Balls to revive all those killed by the Red Ribbon robots, while her husband and kids train to defeat them. Hearing this, Bulma wonders if she can help in any way. After helping out with Frieza, she wonders if she can do anything in this fight to contribute. After all, if they are androids, they are likely weak to EMPs or some sort of signal jammers, but she is soon dropped off at Kame House, alongside Chi-Chi and her newborn daughter Marin, and told by Krillin to stay here until everything's dealt with, something which both women aren't too happy about. Krillin quickly departs Roshi's island, leaving Bulma under the watchful eye of Chi-Chi and Roshi, who, much like Bulma, feel useless in this situation. They want to help out more, however they have no power to do so, leaving them feeling useless for the better part of 2 hours. But 2 hours is all Bulma can endure, as she starts thinking of ways to help out, racking her brain to figure out how to help, which is when she remembers what Krillin had said about the Red Ribbon Army being involved. She thinks back to what her husband had told her about her times fighting the army, remembering hearing of a base Goku had destroyed, and even Goku having fought and made a friend out of a robot in a place called Muscle Tower, near Jingle Village. As she thinks about it more, Bulma finally has a plan, but she decides she might need some backup, and the only available muscle she has on hand is Chi-Chi. So after talking to the woman for a few seconds and explaining her plan of wanting to head to an old Red Ribbon base to look for weaknesses of the androids or any information she can gather which might help the others in a battle. However, she would like Chi-Chi to go with her just to have a small bit of backup, in case the places are occupied. Chi-Chi, who is annoyed just as much as Bulma of being put on the sideline, nods her head, wanting to help, so Chi-Chi leaves Marin in the care of Roshi, while herself and Bulma head off towards the location of the Red Ribbon Army base, using one of Bulma's ships. We see the other Earthlings spreading across the planet, each travelling in car or plane, or some sort of vehicle, in search of the Dragon Balls, while Kami and Piccolo sit silently, trying to figure out the location of the androids, but due to not being able to sense the energy of them, they can't pin them down whatsoever, making the endeavour a bit pointless. However, they can follow the energy of towns which are being attacked, but since their last encounter with the androids earlier, they haven't shown up at all. No other towns have been attacked, nowhere has been hurt. In fact, they haven't felt or heard anything about the androids in a while, making Kami nervous and desperate to fuse with Piccolo, while the other Namekian can only hope that Goku and his sons don't take too long. After 2 hours of flying, Bulma and Chi-Chi find themselves in the ruins of the Red Ribbon Army base. Bulma and Chi-Chi are amazed to see the damage dealt to the base, wondering if it was all done by Goku. However, they don't sit around too long thinking about it. Instead, they choose to land in the base, and find themselves heading towards what they can only presume to be the main building of the base. Once getting inside, Bulma starts digging around through rubble and soon comes across a computer in mostly working condition. After connecting the computer to her own, she starts rummaging through all the files they have on the androids. There's not a lot here, however they do find some information out. She finds out that there's an android out there called Android 8, something that Bulma can remember Goku bringing up in a conversation they had a long time ago, and also the name of the scientist who was working on the android product, this being Dr. Gero. Bulma recognises this name, and actually remembers reading something about it, and as Bulma sits there thinking for a few seconds, trying to remember why she recognises the name, suddenly the base starts blaring massive sirens, as a failsafe had been activated by Bulma, causing the base to enter self-destruct mode. Both women hearing this begin to panic, as massive alarms blare throughout the entire base. Panic begins to set in, and Chi-Chi, not wanting to waste a second or risk running back to the plane, grabs Bulma and flies at her top speed to get herself and Bulma out of the blast radius. Managing to escape the explosion, the pair sigh in relief while floating in the air. Bulma thanks Chi-Chi, who shakes it away, saying she couldn't leave her friend, as they smile. Then the sound of someone sarcastically gagging, while saying, "Oh, this lovey-dovey stuff is going to make me puke. What about you, sis?" As the two women look back to see the androids, Chi-Chi panics, not wanting to be here for a second longer, as she turns around and tries to fly as fast as her body will allow her, but it's not enough, as Android 18 appears in front of her. Chi-Chi goes to turn around, but 17 is standing and waiting. Chi-Chi and Bulma both share a worried face with one another, which makes 18 laugh as she tells the two women not to be worried. They're only going to hurt one of them, and the other one isn't going to get hurt at all, as Chichi once again looks around before trying to dive away from the android, only to then feel something grab her by the throat, and Bulma being ripped away from her grasp. Chichi tries to fight back, however it's pointless, as soon she is swiftly kicked in the gut, followed by a hammer arm to the back, sending her into the crater of the remains of the base. 17, now holding the struggling Bulma, who's trying to break free of his grasp, looks down to the hardly awake Chi-Chi, shouting out, telling the woman to tell Goku they'll be waiting for him at Muscle Tower, and they expect him to show himself before the day's end, or else Bulma dies. Chi-Chi tries to stand, hearing this, but soon passes out. She wakes up a few hours later atop of Kami's lookout, confused at where she is, before she sees Krillin, who hugs his partner at the sight of her waking up, asking if she's alright. Chi-Chi nods before remembering what happened, shouting out for Bulma. When getting no response, she frantically searches around, hoping they got her friend back, or it was all a bad dream. But to her horror, Bulma is nowhere in sight. Piccolo, confused, asks what happened to Bulma, having assumed she was still at Roshi's house. However, this causes Chi-Chi to explain the events of what went down. Hearing this, everyone is shocked and confused at what to do. Krillin, out of all, feels the worst. His wife survived, and that's all he could think about, whereas his best friend's wife might not make it to see another day. He feels ashamed that he's not only not able to do anything, but of how he felt. A bit of debate happens throughout the group, trying to figure out what the best thing to do is with the Dragon Balls and Goku and his sons. Getting them out now could allow them to have some time to plan on how to attack the androids, whereas leaving them in there would allow them to gain some more strength. And soon, after a bit of back and forth, it's decided that the group will not only hold off on making the wish on the Dragon Balls, in case things are to go unfortunately wrong later. They are also deciding not to disturb Goku, Trunks and Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber, to avoid the Saiyans losing focus and sight of their goal. Still having 3 hours left of daylight, they plan to bring them out just before the sunset to allow them to get as strong as possible, meaning everyone is forced to sit around. Even the androids sit at Muscle Tower. Having trapped Bulma on the top floor, they mess around exploring the lower floors, trying to entertain themselves, but not having much success in doing so. However, they know not to go too far in case the humans or Goku tries to save Bulma sneakily. As for Bulma, she sits atop the tower screaming and cursing towards the androids that her husband is going to kick their ass when he shows up, which is amusing to the androids for a little while before it gets annoying, making 18 tell the woman to shut her trap before she makes it so the old hag never speaks again, causing Bulma to continue shouting at the top of her lungs. There's one thing Bulma knows, and that's that 18 and 17 can't hurt her until Goku is here. After all, they lose all negotiating power and debate they have set if they hurt her. So she begins to scream at the androids for calling her old. 18, annoyed, knows she can't kill or hurt the woman in case it changes the plan Goku has. So, 2 hours painfully pass by as the group start getting ready to alert Goku of what's happening. But that's when the sound of the time chamber door opening is heard. Goku talking to his two sons silently in the distance, and 3 massive powers appear. Everyone looks to see Goku, Gohan and future Trunks, stood in their tattered up clothes and all in the Ikari state. At the sight of everyone at the lookout, the trio are relaxed. Seeing everyone makes them calm down. It means that everyone is okay and no one's hurt. But that's when Piccolo breaks the news to them of what happened. He explains to the Sun family boys what is going on. And that's when a weird look overtakes Goku's face. It's nervous. No, it's horrified. As without wasting a second, he turns to his sons, telling them to take a second and breathe, not to activate it. Try and calm down. But it's almost like he's talking to a wall. As his sons look down towards the ground, their muscles twitch and strain. Their hair begins to get sharper, while bright orange lights begin to emit off them. And soon, a massive flash of it blinds everyone on the lookout, and as if the sun had risen once again, lights up the surrounding area. As everyone looks to see Gohan and Trunks' hair now turn to a weird orange colour, and their eyes turn bright blue. Piccolo asks what's going on, but Goku doesn't listen. He only stands in front of his sons, getting eye level with them, telling them to breathe, not lose themselves in the rage. But it's too late, as the twins race forward, knocking Goku off his feet and onto his back. As they fly off the lookout at speeds everyone struggles to follow. The group look around, and then turn to Goku, asking what's going on. Goku explains that the twins had found a form beyond the Ikari state, however it seems to be too much. Goku has a theory that it might not just be a form beyond the Ikari state, he thinks it's something different altogether. It seems like without knowing it they've combined two things, and what it's doing is overriding their brains with pure anger, pure rage and destruction. It almost cost him his life last time his kids activated this, and now he's not sure what to do. At least when they activated it in the time chamber, no one was at risk of getting hurt except himself. But now they're loose on the world, searching for the one thing which has brought about all this rage and all this pain, the androids. Saying this, Goku turns to everyone, telling them to be ready to fight, as the androids are no longer their biggest concern, as he flies off followed by the rest of the Z-Fighters, leaving on worried Kami and Popo on the lookout. Kami eyeing up the Dragon Balls as everyone leaves. Over with the androids, we see both of them looking horrified, as their scouters pick up an incredible power which is far beyond anything they could have expected, far more than the computers could have ever anticipated. They aren't sure who or what this is, or if it's even human, or alien at this point. All they do know is it's heading towards them, and it's heading towards them fast. The androids are scared for the first time ever. They have no idea what's going on or what to do, thinking their scouters must be wrong, but that's when Gohan and Trunks appear floating in the sky, both silently staring at the androids. Bulma, seeing her son, screams out in joy, happy to see them okay and alive, and also knowing that Goku must shortly be behind them, but she can tell something's wrong with her kids, and she doesn't know what it is, but it's scaring her. As for the androids, they feel themselves calm down. They remember that these kids were nothing earlier, and they were only a little bit stronger than their father. Even if they had spent the entire day training, they won't be anything compared to them. So, 17 shouts up, asking if they can skip the part where they fight and just get to the bit where they kill their father. If they want to fight afterwards, they can circle back and do that. But right now they're a bit fed up of waiting for Goku to show his stupid face. But not a word is spoken back in response. Only the sound of strong wind gusting past the androids is heard, as the two boys disappear from the sky, and then reappear behind the androids, causing the Robo-twins to freeze up, looking horrified, as they turn to see the kids who have both thrown a singular punch into the android's face, almost ripping their heads off with the might of these jabs. As both androids are sent rocketing into the sky, both are shocked. They know the scouters aren't wrong. They look towards one another, realising that they don't stand a chance against power like this. As they are now stuck in a tight spot, they think about running, but that's when Goku and the other Z warriors show up behind them. The androids look to see Goku, and they look scared. For a brief second, Goku knows he's stronger than the androids, but he also knows that they could be a valuable asset in the fight against his sons. So for a second, he thinks about it, before he goes to open his mouth to shout out for an alliance between himself and the androids, even if it's temporary. But before even any words can leave his mouth, before he can speak a single syllable, the mouths of his sons open, and two beams are fired from their mouths. As Android 17, seeing this, tries to open a barrier to defend himself and his sister. However, the barrier doesn't hold for long, as the beam soon connects, ripping through the shield easily, and the androids are consumed by the attack, killed in one fast swoop. For a second, the Z-Fighters go to celebrate, before they realise that the blast is still coming towards them, so soon all of them duck, dodge and dive out of the way, narrowly avoiding the attack. Everyone is amazed at the power of the boys, cheering for the androids' defeat, but that's when Gohan and Trunks look towards the Z-Fighters, disappear and reappearing behind Goku and Piccolo. Trunks kicks his father in the back, sending him straight towards the ground, while Gohan headbutts Piccolo, almost sending him into orbit. However, Piccolo manages to stop the momentum given to him from one singular attack. As both of the strongest Z-Warriors are out of combat for a few seconds, the two Saiyan hybrids turn their attention towards the humans, lifting their hands to fire a blast to kill all of them off. Krillin throws his body in front of Chi-Chi, hoping to defend her. However, the Saiyan hybrids flinch for a second at the sound of Bulma shouting for her sons to stop what they're doing. Bulma, having watched the whole thing, is worried for her sons, and she can't watch it anymore. She has to interfere, even if it's just through her words, just trying to grab their attention for a second. And this second is enough. It allows Goku to get himself on his feet and race up to stand in front of his sons, grabbing them by their hands and asking them what they are doing, telling them to take a second and think about who they are looking at, who they're trying to fight, making the two boys hesitate. Their pupils flicker back into their eyes for a second as a look of worry fills their face. Goku feels like he's getting somewhere, And with a bit of worry still left in his heart, he tries to turn back to his friends to warn them to leave, just in case things go south. But that's when the pure-blooded Saiyan feels two fists hit him in the gut, causing a fountain of blood to escape from his mouth. Goku floats backwards weakly, looking to see his sons, laughing with blacked-out eyes once again. Goku shouts for his sons to listen to him, but they both start flying towards him at breakneck speeds to finish off their prey. However, before they can make a single attack, everyone realises that the sky has not long since turned black, and milliseconds after realising it, both Trunks and Gohan pass out, causing the hair to drop down to its natural blue colour. Everyone is confused for a few seconds before Kami speaks to them telepathically and tells them he used the Dragon Balls to put the boys to sleep, at least for a few hours. Everyone thanks Kami as Goku holds his sons over his shoulders. He has no clue what to do going forward, and he has no idea what this other state which is combining with the Ikari form is, and he really doesn't know what to do. But he has one idea. He could call in a favour from someone. He isn't sure how they'll respond to it, but hopefully they'll be willing to help in return for another favour. But for now, he's at least happy that his kids are back to normal and his wife is okay. And Bulma watches from a distance as Goku carries her son weakly, flying down towards her. But she can't help but feel responsible. If she could have defended herself, maybe a bit better, or if she could have escaped on her own, maybe avoided what had happened here, she might have never had to watch what just happened to her sons happen. However, for now, the group relocate on Kami's lookout, as a slow realisation hits them that Capsule Corp and West City are still missing. It's a bit of a sour moment as their victory is tainted by this, but for now, it's a victory, and they'll just have to wait a year to fix all of this. However, both Goku and Bulma have things on their mind. Bulma finally remembers where she recognises the name Dr. Gero. It's a famous scientist she read in a magazine. She knows roughly the location of his base and wonders if there's anything interesting she could find there. Maybe some more blueprints on the androids, something she could improve upon. They seem to be incredibly strong, so maybe having a few of her own around wouldn't be a terrible idea. As for Goku, he's trying to figure out the next natural step for him to take with his training. Right now, he needs to get far ahead of his sons, so if that was to ever happen again, he can stop them. But truthfully, he isn't sure how he could do this. So for now, he's only got one thought, and that's going to be to call Vegeta. But this is where I'm leaving this part for now. I'm sorry it ends here, and it's a bit of a weird part, but I hope people enjoy. The reason there was a week miss in my uploads is because I didn't like the original script I'd wrote up for this. I'm not sure what made me go back and check it. I normally check it once or twice before the day of upload and then upload it on the day. I don't really know what made me question myself. I think it might have been because I was writing for other scripts and other things at the time, and it made me sit down and question if I was happy with this, to make me go back and check, or if it was just me thinking about the script in a different way and thinking I could write it in a different direction. All I can say is that this script for me is much better, and I've done a better job with it, and I've set myself up better for the next part, and going forward the story should be a bit more interesting. That being said, I'm sorry I missed a week of uploading. I know I said at Christmas I'm going to try and be more consistent, and I will continue to be more consistent. I just refuse to upload things I'm not happy with, as it's not fair on you guys because I don't think it's the best I could have done. Alongside that, I could have brought a video forward, but the video wasn't fully done. It had some final tweaks I needed to add, and I didn't really have time to do all of that as I was working over the weekend, so I decided I would just skip a week and not rush production of another video to, fill in the blank. So I hope everyone's okay with that. Hopefully things should be fine going forward. But if I'm never happy with a script, I will inform you that there will be a gap in videos as I refuse to put up things I don't like. This all being said, thank you all for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed this part, and I hope you all have a great day and a good night, and hopefully I'll see you next time.